The following clip is an interview with Dr. John Corrigan. He's a professor in NCCU's English department. We'll be talking about the differences between foreign students and Taiwanese students. Without further ado, enjoy the interview.
I would say that there is a difference, and the difference is not necessarily between Taiwanese and the rest. It's actually between Asian students and what you'd call Western students. And it would be that Asian students usually are quieter. They feel less comfortable speaking up in class.
I get that a lot.
Yeah, and probably most of all, they never challenge the authority of the professor.
Do you think that it's bad for the students to be threatened by the positions of students and professors for them to learn better?
I think there's always a trade-off for everything, right? So for instance, there's a diligence, hard-working ethic here in Asia that really serves Taiwanese. I would say from my experience, I've taught Taiwanese, Japanese, mainland Chinese, and Korean students. And they all seem to be a little bit similar. There's some similarities in the way they engage in the classroom.
Yes.
And I would say that kind of hard-working ethic, respect for the position of the professor, in some ways there's great advantages to it, right? I found, and I've been lucky to find that my Taiwanese students, when you get to the writing portions and to the responses that they will have, they're top-notch, they're excellent. And that has to do with that conscientiousness, not in every case, but on average, that conscientiousness that the student has. At the same time, too, there is a danger for what you would call maybe group conformity, right? Where you don't challenge the teacher ever. Now, for me, from my position, irreverence, to a certain degree, not too much irreverence, but some irreverence for authority is a great trait. It's a sign of free thinking, right? So the question is, how much should maybe Taiwanese students internalize? How could they do it? How could they do it in an advantageous way? That's a difficult conversation.
Yes.
Right? Being challenged on occasion. Or also going into a classroom and giving opinions maybe that are not your own, but expecting there to be a dynamic, what would be a kind of dynamic debate unfold in class is good for everybody involved. And that's very hard to bring about in the Taiwanese classroom. So that's the other side of the coin, right? That's the weakness.
Exactly.
And in some ways it also turns into a social weakness too, right?
And just in terms of NCCU, do you think that you mentioned there should be a balance between the two?
Mm-hmm.
Well, do you think we have a grasp in the balance between believing in authority and being critical?
I'm not sure. I think by the college or by the university period, it's already a little bit too late.
Oh.
I think that it's not necessarily even a balance between the learners and the authority. I think it actually goes back to your experience in elementary and high school, of where your life is completely scheduled. For Taiwanese students, you guys are at school from like 7 till 5, then you're having dinner, then you're going to a cram school, many, right?
Yes.
So what that does is this kind of overscheduling of all of your time. It leads to, in a certain way, a type of, it socializes a kind of institutionalization.
Yes.
So the difficulty is that will have repercussions. On one hand, it builds work ethic, right?
Yes.
And that's one thing sometimes that I would say, especially I speak for Canadians lack. It's so lax that a lot of people later on in life, a lot of my friends in their 20s, all of a sudden, oh wow, I have to work hard. And they didn't have the tools to do it.
And that's
right? So, you know, everything in balance. But I would say that I would affirm my own experience of having that freedom to decide your own time, that freedom to play.
Do you have any suggestions to our students in NCCU?
Being overwhelmed by coursework leaves less room for leisure, less room for creativity. And, you know, for instance, you know, you find this, students are skipping out on the reading. They're skipping out on what they think to be extraneous things. So they'll come ready for class, but they won't have engaged in the reading properly, or if they did, they skim read it. Where my college experience, and it served me really well, was lingering over texts, living with texts, that way of incorporating thinking and thought into your life, and it not just being some activity that you need to do because we're hardworking.
Yeah.
I think that that's the way towards creativity and success in whatever avenue that they decide to take in life. So I would say, you know, make room for a creative experience of